Caviar and bread again, a warning to the new writer. There is one major phase of modern poetry on which both critics and their begetters have gone astray. That is substance. So riled have the former been over the modern radical changes in technique that as far as any substance can be distilled out of what they've had to say, such substance is thoroughly negligible. It ranges up and down from the squawks of such hens as men can cavil to the celluloid ivory of the recent Eliot substitutions, though Eliot was at least once a poet and didn't merely quit at the beginning from deficient ability. Cabell, at any rate, comes clean. He wipes out poetry itself as unworthy of the adult mind, an anachronism stamping a man as arrested in his growth. Yet it must be apparent to everyone that Cabell's work lacks just this, being worth at least a second reading, a decent poetic organization, through lack of which it lies spineless where he dropped it. But it is from the poet himself that the trouble really arises. We've heard enough of the cant that the artist is born weakling, that his works are efforts of a neuroses, sublimations, escapes from the brutal contact with life that he, poor chap, horribly fears. This has always been said, and Freud seemed to put the last nail in the coffin with his discoveries. But as reported in the last number of Transition, an abler man than Freud, Dr. C.G. Jung, has finally revealed the true state of affairs to be profoundly in favor of the poet. It is he, the poet, whose function it is, when the race has gone astray, to lead it, to distraction perhaps, but in any case to lead it. This he will not do by mere blather, but by a magnificent organization of those materials his age has placed before him for his employment. At the same time, he usually invents a technique, or seems to do so, but really it is that he has been the fortunate one who has gathered all the threads together that have been spun for many centuries before him and woven them into his design. What I am driving at is some kind of an estimate of what is going on today, some kind of estimate of the worth of modern poetry before condemning it for the lack of substance which strikes one in such a magazine as Blues. The older poetry is worn out for us along with all new work which follows the older line. No amount of reinflation after Eliot's sorry fashion can help it. At most we can admire Eliot's distinguished use of sentences and words and the tenor of his mind, but as for substance, he is for us a cipher. We must invent, we must create of the blankness about us, and we must do this by the use of new constructions. And for this we cannot wait until Gabriel blow his horn. We must do it now, today. We must have the vessel ready when the gin is mixed. We've got to experiment with technique long before the final summative artist arrives and makes it necessary for man to begin inventing all over again. On the poet devolves the most vital function of society, to recreate it, the collective world, in a time of stress, in a new mode, fresh in every part, and so set the world making or dancing or murdering each other again, instead of that, Lord, how serious it sounds. Let's play tiddlywinks with the syllables, and why not? It doesn't cost anything except the waste of a lot of otherwise no good time, and yet we moderns expect people actually to read us, even to buy our magazines and pay for them with money. Experiments we must have, but it seems to me that a number of the younger writers have forgotten that writing doesn't mean just inventing new ways to say, "So's your old man." I swear I myself can't make out for the life of me what many of them are talking about, and I have a will to understand them that they will not find in many another. If you like Gertrude Stein, study her for her substance. She has it, no matter what the idle may say. The same for Ezra Pound, for James Joyce. It is substance that makes their work important. Technique is a part of it, new technique. Technique is itself substance, as all artists must know. But it is the substance under that, forming that, giving it its reason for existence, which must be the final answer and the source of reliance. We must listen to no blank-minded critic without understanding when it comes to what we shall do and how we shall do it, but we must realize that it is a world to which we are definitely articulating, or to which we might be, were we all able enough.